Hey, GLP-1 plus sides community. Before we jump into the podcast, please take the time to leave us a 5-star review on whatever audio platform you're listening to the podcast on. Share your story and how the podcast has helped you. This will help us get referred up in the audio platform so that we can reach more people that need our help, our support, and guidance from our doctors. Help us get loud and change things. Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together, because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault. Hey everyone, before we dive in, I really want to share something personal with you. About, I want to say like 8 to 10 months ago, after losing 100 pounds on GLP-1s and keeping it off for a long time, I started regaining out of nowhere, and I was terrified. But I also started having hot flashes and bouts of crying and snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. unable to go back to sleep. It turns out I was in perimenopause. So I started hormone replacement therapy, which is also called HRT, through a telehealth called Winona that specializes in this. And it changed everything. And now I'm sleeping better and my hot flashes are all but gone, thank God. And I feel like myself again. And it turns out that you can actually start perimenopause as early as 35. And well, I'm 46 and she's here. HRT has really come a long way and there's just no need to suffer anymore. So if you're like this and you're in the same boat, you can check out buywinona.com and you can use the link in our link tree to save some money.
Want the fastest working GLP-1? For half the price, Ro now offers FDA-approved weight loss injections cheaper. With results you can see faster. Lose 15% of your weight with the formula from Eli Lilly that hits not one, but 2 hormones to curb hunger and nausea. Weight loss faster. Confidence higher. Price cheaper. See if you qualify at ro.co/TV.
Oh, hey.
Hey
there.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Plus Sides.
Special edition.
Post-Thanksgiving, post-turkey.
Yep.
So we are all full and
Yep.
happy.
Very
How was your Thanksgiving, John?
It was nice and peaceful. I loved it. I laid in my recliner, watched TV, and ate a steak.
That's what dads do
Yes.
on Thanksgiving.
It's the only way to do it. It's
Only
the
way.
only way to do it.
I made short ribs, so it's a close second, right? So it's
Well, I don't know. I'd
beef, right?
almost go with short ribs over the steak, depending upon how they were seasoned.
Well, I made them, so
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I would take your short ribs over my steak.
Okay.
I know how you cook. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you all have not already noticed, Kim is missing. She is under the weather, but we have other Kim. Just kidding.
Yep, we have
With the
Bear
beard.
extraordinaire this evening. Kim
Bear the
has
extraordinaire.
grown some facial hair, lost hair on top of her head. So, this is what happens when you get sick.
Kids do that. So
Yeah,
kids will do that
kids
to you.
do that. Yep.
Yep. Well, if you have not joined us before, where you been? You have a lot of material to get through. So we hope you enjoy it as well.
Definitely.
Where you get all your podcasts and all of your audio. My name is Kat Carter on the Tiki Talks, and we talk all about GLP-1s in our community. And then we have our doctors and specialists on board to back all of that up with science, facts, and data. Yep. So I have been on a GLP-1 for 2 years. It's been Mounjaro, like a good Midwesterner would say it, for 2 years. And how long have you been on yours, Bear?
I have been on mine now. I believe we are at 2.5 years. Me and Kim, we started at roughly the same time, and I've been on all of them, and I believe I am at 75 or 80 pounds lost to date. I'm not too far away from my goal weight, so I'm pretty excited.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm 70 down, but yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good number.
It is. I'm very happy with it. Even if I stopped losing weight right now, I'm still pretty content with how I look, how the clothes feel, where all my medical numbers are, blood pressure, cholesterol, everything. So, the healthy parts there, the last 30 pounds is, I guess, vanity more than anything, I suppose.
And we get to talk all about that too, set weight and all that good stuff with our doctor today. So, well, all right. Well, let's get our community member on. We have someone on today. Let's talk about about her story, and it's Dominique. Let's bring her to the stage. We need sound effects. We need applause.
we do. I'm working on convincing the boss to get me a soundboard.
I can do audio over here. Maybe I'll just, get one on my phone and just put the phone on my microphone.
Well, I found one.
I'm only kidding. I'm just kidding.
I found one on Amazon for like $50, and I just plug my microphone into it, and it makes all the noises. I can even download additional noises. So
I think that would be trouble for you, John, because you can get yourself in trouble. You see his smirk. He's like, it would be.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, yeah. I know me. I'm a starter beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, Dominique, welcome to the show. And this is the part where Kim and I go on mute because we're chatty Cathys. So tell your story, unfiltered, uncut.
All right.
And let her rip. I'm going to go on mute now, okay?
As will I.
Welcome.
Well, it is a story. I mean, I think my GLP-1 story starts like many in the community. My story starts as a child. I was always active. I was always a dancer. I was in a basketball. I was in a soccer, yet I was always overweight. I've been on every single diet you can think of. I started Weight Watchers when I was 10, after my mom took me to the doctor. Good old night. So I'm a 90s baby, early 2000s, Britney Spears, where they were coming at Jessica Simpson. If anybody remembers Takara on Top Model, she was like a size 8, and she was considered.
Was she an 8? Yeah, she was 200 pounds, and they said she was just too heavy.
Yeah, she was
right.
So fat.
Takara is beautiful. Yeah.
Right. So I grew up during that time, and I remember my mom took me to the pediatrician, and they pulled out that BMI chart. They pulled out that BMI chart and just scared her half to death. So she used to take me to the gym, 5 o'clock in the morning. She put me on Weight Watchers. And I mean, it definitely impacted me growing up. It definitely impacted my confidence, but I tried not to blame her because she was literally just doing her best. And she was just, scared because of what the doctors told her. They scared her. They were like, she's going to get diabetes and just be so overweight. And looking back on it, I wasn't even that big. I was like a size 10, 12. But I'm also a taller girl, bigger build. So that BMI chart just was not for me. So I've had those weight problems all the way up until I got to college. When I graduated college, I went through a really, really bad breakup. and just dedicated myself to the gym. And I also went vegan for 3 years, and I ended up losing 75 pounds. So I was 300 pounds and then lost 75 pounds and was vegan for 3 years and was solely dedicated to the gym. Very unhealthy, completely ruined my metabolism, but I was actually able to keep that weight off for a really long time until I got to my upper 20s. I didn't want to be a vegan anymore because I like chicken, like most people do. So, but then the weight started to slowly creep back. I got married, more weight crept in. Then I had my son. And then I just blew up. So I had my son when I was 28 and got all the way up to 320 pounds. Struggled for like a year after I had him. And then in 2022, I got on TikTok, and that's when I came across Ozempic and Mounjaro. I started on Ozempic because I had no idea what Mounjaro was, and I was one of the skeptics. I didn't know what that was. I didn't hear about. I didn't know Mounjaro. It sounded weird. I was like, I don't know about that, but I do know Ozempic because I remember the commercial. So I was like, okay, I'll try Ozempic. I'll see. I'll let them do the Mounjaro, but I'll try the Ozempic. So I went to the doctor. I got a prescription for Ozempic, and I was actually getting mine from Canada because my insurance didn't cover it. So I got mine from Canada. This is when you were allowed to do that before it like became a craze. Got mine from Canada. I started and I was on it for 4 months, lost 39 pounds, and then got pregnant. So I am one of the girlies who had an Ozempic baby. That is a real thing. So I ended up so I had to stop because I was pregnant. And I ended up stopping for a year. And then after I had my baby in 2024, in February of 2024, I nursed for about 3 months. And then in February of 2024, I wanted to get back on it. But instead of Ozempic, I went with Zepbound because by this time you weren't allowed to get Ozempic from Canada anymore. And I certainly couldn't foot the $1,300 to buy it out of pocket here in the States, and my insurance still won't cover it because it's obesity, and it doesn't cover any obesity. So I couldn't get Wegovy, none of that. So I opted for Zepbound. I was doing the coupon for a little bit, and then the shortages hit in the summer. Those shortages in the summer, I mean, it's still in shortage now. FDA, it's still in shortage now. But the summer shortages were just insane. And I just felt crazy, calling all the pharmacies, doing all the things. And I was like, why am I doing this when I can literally just get compound and not have to worry about it? So I've been on compound tirzepatide since I believe July, and I am currently 65 pounds down. So that is my story of how I got on GLP.
Quick pause here. I've had moments on my GLP-1 journey where insurance changes or rising costs force me to look for a new provider. And honestly, that process can feel very overwhelming. But that's why the Plus Sides podcast has partnered with GLP Winner to give our subscribers a resource to help them make that decision easier. GLP Winner is a comparison platform that lets you explore telehealth providers in all 50 states, whether you're looking for brand name medications or compounded options. You can see pricing up front, read reviews, and get a clear picture of which provider might align best with your needs. Check it out today at glpwinner.com/plus-sides. That's glpwinner.com/plus-sides. Don't forget the Z. Let me tell you a quick story. was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications. And I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. and I had hot flashes. And I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause. And I started HRT, and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is, geez, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through the same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, this might be something for you to try. So I just wanted to make sure you had this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need.
"20 seconds a week to lose 20% of your weight in a year with diet and exercise. That's the power of GLP-1s through Ro. Ro helps find the medication that's right for you, based on cost, availability, and your weight loss goals. Losing weight with GLP-1s is possible through Ro.
See, and I didn't interrupt. Well, I kind of did a little bit about Takara, but
I mean, small. It wasn't bad. I thought that was a great story. Definitely rings very similar to kind of like what my wife's been through, what I've heard a lot of people. So, it's always great, for. I'm sorry, it's always great to hear similarities in things, at least to me. It makes it feel a little bit more, I don't know, consistent, kind of normal in a way.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that I love about the GLP-1 community. And I think that's why everybody in the GLP-1 community is like so connected, because most people who are on GLP-1s didn't just just start having weight problems. It's been a lifelong thing.
Yeah, agreed.
So we all have similar struggles. We all have like similar backgrounds. Like we all have things that connect us despite all of our different walks of life. We know what it's like to live in a bigger body when it's not always accepted. And we know what it's like to literally try everything.
All the things, everything.
Keto,
everything.
Carnivore, Whole30, vegan. I mean, everything.
Vegan sounds difficult.
It
Right.
was.
A lot of chickpeas, right?
Lots of chickpeas, lots of veggies. It was definitely hard. It was hard, but I really wanted to be skinny. So
I've known two people who have done vegan for the purpose of the losing weight. Now, one of them, she swore up and down to me that her doctor told her that everything, like she was the healthiest she had ever been while she was vegan. Now, I saw, like, looking at her observationally, she looked skinnier because she was losing the weight, but she also looked paler. Her skin, she did not look good at all, as far as like compared to what I was used to seeing with her. And then the other one was a gentleman that I knew, and he went on, I can't remember exactly how they referred to the diet, but it was basically he ate a ton of like Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, things along those lines, and he lost a ton of weight as well. But getting through that gastral thing, because
that's immediately what I thought of, yeah.
Because that was all he ate, so it was like, my guy.
Yeah.
Some gas X is necessary here, and but
yeah. But Oreos are vegan too. You can get your junk food in.
This is very true. Like you can be an unhealthy vegan. I feel like it got really popular because of all the documentaries and stuff that was happening.
Yeah.
So that's like where I got a lot of my information instead of like the doctor. Yeah. More like a nutritionist. I was just like, this documentary told me that meat is bad, so I'm going with that.
I understand. No comment.
I mean, that makes sense. You hear it often enough, and it kind of comes into your mind like, hey, that something has to be true about that.
Mm-hmm. A little bit. Yeah.
I've definitely thought of it before, but the idea of turning down a steak, I can't do it.
Listen,
I don't know if either one of you have ever seen The Ranch on Netflix. There's a scene. Sam Elliott is the father, and he's in to see this this just regular doctor, and she's kind of talking to him about his heart health, and she's like, you got to cut out whiskey and red meat, and then she's like, what do you do to reduce stress? And he's like, drink whiskey and eat steak, and I'm like, yes. Right there, my spirit animal on television.
Oh, Lord. Well, they say like, bison might be a little bit healthier, or maybe venison, game meats, but
I love bison. Bison is it's the closest texture and kind of taste wise to just red meat for most people.
Mm.
It really is. It's one of the, at least in my opinion, it's one of the best transition meats for people who don't want to eat red meat, but they still want meat. It's like, hey, start with bison.
It'll be kind of, technically still red meat. But anyway,
Yep.
let's not talk about meat. Well, we do have to, we got to keep our protein up. Speaking of meat, right?
Yeah, you got to keep your protein up. Meat and
But
cheese.
we're gonna bring our doctor up as well, Dr. Marilyn Galindo. We've talked to her before, and I was so excited to see you again.
Hi, yes, thanks for having me again. Thank you. So I'm Dr. Galindo. I have been a hospitalist for 10 years, and basically what that means is I was working in the hospital full time, but as somebody who suffers from obesity themselves and has struggled with the same things that you guys have been talking about, I started doing obesity medicine in the last 2 years, and I have a small micro practice. So I work in the hospital 1 week, and then on my weeks off, I do obesity medicine here in Texas. So that's kind of how I got involved in this. But one of my passions is treating people in the hospital for their obesity, because I feel like those patients tend to be very sick and to the point, and we're talking about patients who weigh like 600 pounds and things like that. And so a lot of times they can't move, they can't get out of the hospital, and they'll be in the hospital for like 6 months. And before GLPs, we used to think of those patients as like, okay, well, they're just stuck in the hospital. But now I'm like, no, we're going to treat them. So that's kind of one of the things I've been working on this year is like changing my colleagues' perception of obesity and being a disease like diabetes, not just something that we can tell the patient like diet and exercise. I mean, just imagine telling a patient that weighs 600 pounds that he needs to diet and exercise. Like
you're immobile at that point.
Exactly. And you're stuck, right? So that's kind of where a lot of my passion for treating obesity comes from.
So when you say, and excuse me for any ignorance on my part, when you say a hospitalist, do you kind of do just the general medicine and then obesity specialist, and you just do it for people who are already admitted to the hospital, or if you don't mind?
Yeah, I can explain that. So a hospitalist is like when you get really sick and you have to be admitted to the hospital. I always like to say the hospitals is like your PCP in the hospital. Like we coordinate the care of the patients. And so I did that for 10 years full time until I had my kids. And then I kind of was looking for part-time things to do outside of that because it's a rough life being a hospitalist. You work 12-hour shifts and things like that. And that's how I found obesity medicine. And I really love it. I'm just not at a point where I can do it like full time. Yeah. But I also realized like it was so important for me to do it in the hospital because these are patients that already have so many medical problems. Like they have really severe sleep apnea, right? Where they're like hooked up to a BiPAP because they can't breathe. These are patients that have diabetes sometimes, but not always. Sometimes you don't have to have obesity and diabetes. A lot of patients don't have diabetes, but they have insulin resistance. And so I've decided that instead of like just doing outpatient only, that I wanted to stay inpatient because I also wanted to have an impact on patients. And one of my biggest success stories is that I had a patient who lost in 2 months, he lost almost 80 pounds in the hospital, and he was able to leave the hospital because of that.
That's
awesome.
Yeah. So I didn't want to leave that because and then I'm like working on some projects to try to make sure that when people go to the hospital, if they have obesity, we hook them up with a obesity specialist when they leave. And so one of the reasons I'm actually a very shy person, but one of the reasons I like doing the social media is because I feel like there's so much misinformation around obesity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And there's people just have these ideas that people with obesity are lazy, that they don't try, but that's so wrong. Most of my patients have tried everything. They just can't get it to work because it's more complicated than just eating right all the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Totally. You touched on insulin resistance, and we always ask this mandatory question every episode until it gets drilled into everybody's head.
Mm-hmm.
Can we examine insulin resistance and why it affects so many obesity patients, and how does it relate to PCOS as well?
Okay, so obesity is like a spectrum too, right? Because one thing that I've seen, and just like insulin resistance, if you have really bad insulin resistance, you probably have diabetes as well, because now you can't metabolize sugar well at all, right? But then there's people who have insulin resistance and might just have obesity without diabetes, but they still have very high levels of insulin in their bodies. And actually, insulin promotes weight gain, because what happens is your cells need to process sugar in order to function. And when you have insulin resistance, the sugar insulin is like the key, right? And if it's not working properly, then your body is basically starving. And so I think that's also what makes a lot of people hungry when they have insulin resistance, is because you have that that impairment in your metabolism where you can't get the sugar where it needs to be. So you're always feeling hungry, right? And then that's another reason why people who have diabetes and go on insulin gain weight, because the more we just gave them more insulin, now their body's more hungry. You get what I'm saying? So it's a very complicated disease when it comes to insulin resistant, and it definitely contributes to obesity.
So just out of curiosity, in reference to what you were saying with people who are on insulin and then they go on a GLP-1 like Mounjaro or Ozempic or wegovy, how quickly, out of curiosity, from going on one of the GLP-1s, are they able to either reduce the amount of insulin that they're taking, or maybe the dependency on the insulin?
So usually within a few weeks, I start to notice a difference. And usually we check an hemoglobin A1C every 3 months, because hemoglobin A1C measures the sugar around your red blood cell, and the life cycle of a red blood cell is 3 months. So if we check every 3 months, you usually see a big drop in your A1C if you have diabetes. But I even see drops in people who don't have diabetes. So I'll have a lot of patients who start off with an A1C of 5.5 or 5.6, which is pre-diabetes. And then 3 or 4 months later, when we check again, we're seeing an A1C of 5, for instance. So you start to see the effects pretty quickly. So the way that a GLP works is that it does two things. It makes your cells more sensitive to the insulin so that you need less of it, but it also triggers your pancreas to make more insulin. So by over time, once it kind of fixes that metabolic dysregulation that people with obesity have, because that's what it is. It's a metabolic dysregulation, and it's a neural hormonal disease. So your hormones don't work the same in your brain and in your gut as somebody who doesn't have obesity. So when we give you a medication to fix that, you get better.
A neurohormonal disease. That's fascinating.
I like that, as opposed to just
being chronic, right?
The metabolic. I like the neuro part, because so much, as somebody who's been on all of them, one of the first things that I noticed Kim and Kat, you guys mentioned the food noise. One of the first things I noticed as an autistic person is I noticed the general quieting in my mind of just everything, not just the food noise, but just the normal noise that I have in my head quieted, because there's something in there, like you said, Dr. Galindo, or like you referenced, I should say, where it's just it affects something in my brain. There's some change that appetite change and that hormone change. It changes something up there, at least for me, very noticeably.
Yeah,
So,
and I just got back from Obesity Week. It happened to be in my town, San Antonio, so I went
Oh,
to
cool.
it. And it was amazing because that's how they described it. They said obesity is a neurohormonal disease. It's a disease of this dysfunction from the hormones in your gut, which are what the GLP medications are. Those hormones are made in your gut naturally. They've just been re-engineered so that they last longer, right? And so they also go to these receptors in your brain. And so that's why people have noticed, like you said, that quieting of the food noise, right? Or just like less anxiety too. Yeah.
Less obsession. I always like it less obsession for me. You mentioned, John, you got me on this. I don't know if you feel comfortable answering this. So on the spectrum of autism,
yeah.
does that affect, do you find that that might affect with obesity rates as well? Or
Yes.
let's say, would a GLP-1 also, is there anything different that a GLP-1 would do for, like, say, a person who's on the spectrum or not, or just works the same? And I'm walking in circles on this, and I'm trying to get to the whole entire point here. Like food fixation and things like that. Because I know it's a sensory thing, right? And you get this food obsession. So we can't really deviate from other things with people who are kind of on the spectrum. Does a GLP-1 also help that as well? Or
I think it does, because I think all of that, how your brain processes things, right, is different when you are on the spectrum or when you have ADHD. And one thing that I've realized is, like, I started treating a lot of ADHD in my clinic, and it was because patients who have obesity also have ADHD or autism disorder. Like, they're very much related, and it's because your brain functions very differently, right? And so when you give somebody a medication that can kind of quiet some of that down, it really helps patients. But yeah, a lot of my patients are on ADHD meds as well as anti-obesity medication.
Yeah, and it does it. I wouldn't say that it's affected like texture stuff, but what it's allowed me to do, because like Dr. Galindo said, with the anxiety and just the quieting the noise that we have in our mind in regards to fixation, it allows you to, at least, even if you don't like the texture, maybe to at least finish what you started. And then maybe the next time you go to that same food, because you kind of have to in certain instances, like you change what you want to eat, or it naturally happens, or at least it did for me. So like certain textures of food prior to being on GLP-1, I couldn't handle at all. But because the GLP-1 allowed me to not have as much anxiety and noise in my head, I was able to work through what I was attempting to eat a little bit more. I wouldn't say it's like I wouldn't say it fixes it 100%. Like there's still certain things and certain sensory things that I'm not going to be able to get past, but it's not as bad as it was, because there is something with the hormone receptors in the brain. There's something with what happens with that change, with that not with the change, but with the hormones staying longer. There's something with that almost straightens the road out for how my brain is processing and thinking about what I'm doing or what I'm eating, if that makes sense.
It does.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
I'm wondering if that is possible. I'm sure there's probably studies being done on that currently.
Oh yeah, there's definitely studies. I mean, I went to several talks during Obesity Week about that whole correlation between ADHD, autism spectrum disorder. Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of research going on in those areas. And one of the things that was really cool about the conference is I realized how many people are so excited about obesity now. Now that we've discovered these meds, they were really a game changer, because it made people realize, like, oh, wait a minute, we were wrong about this. Like, this isn't just eat less calories, exercise more. It's much more complicated than that. And so there's, I think, like 30 or 100 drugs out there that are being studied. So it's a very exciting time. I always tell my patients, if we don't have a medicine for you that works now, we will in a few years. Like, it's coming. So I'm very.
That's really exciting. I bet that makes a lot of us, you all in the medical profession feel empowered, probably more so than we used to. I know that we're definitely always, of course, fighting the bias of obesity in healthcare. But I think a lot of times now, a lot of our practitioners now feel more empowered, maybe more hopeful, besides, because I know we were kind of hopeless too, like, the patients, but I think there's hope now. Like,
Yes,
there's a lot of things on the horizon.
The other thing is that, like, it's not just, I'm a specialist, but there's a lot really what they said at the conference was like, it's going to take all of us to fight obesity because so many people are affected by, like, 40% of the population in the US has clinical obesity. Mm-hmm. And so it's not just good. It's going to start with your primary care doctor, but your gynecologist is going to be able to treat it. Like, all of these primary specialists, your pediatricians, all of these people need to get involved. And that's what I told my colleagues in the hospitals. Like, we kind of have to get involved now. Like, if our patients are this sick and obesity is one of their medical problems, we can't ignore it, because when you treat obesity, you treat so many of their other medical problems as well, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications, and I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. and I had hot flashes, and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause, and I started HRT, and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through this same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, and this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you have this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need. Today's episode is brought to you by Ro, a telehealth platform that's changing the game of GLP-1 access. What sets Ro apart? Ro understands the challenges of navigating insurance hurdles and the skyrocketing prices of GLP-1 medications. That's why they specialize in getting insurance approvals for GLP-1s. And if insurance is a barrier, they go a step further by prescribing brand name zepbound vials for prices close to those of compound GLP-1s. With Ro, you're not just getting a prescription, you're getting a partner in your journey that's helping you access affordable treatment and guiding you every step of the way. Whether it's insurance approvals or cost-effective alternatives, Ro is here to make sure that you get the medication you need. Visit ro.co/plussides with a Z today to see how they can help you take control of your weight management journey with affordable, accessible care. That's ro.co/plussides with a Z, making healthcare work for you. Check out the link in our show notes for more details. Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together, because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.